Welcome back, Bills are Red, to another Minecraft Bedrock Edition tutorial. Now today I have before me the amazing raid farm designed by Pico Nico, showed off by Silent Whisperer, and well, this raid farm is honestly the craziest farm I've ever seen on Minecraft Bedrock Edition. It can produce, around 40 to 45,000 items an hour, 20,000 of those being emeralds, and that is an absolutely crazy number of items. And if you're going to have a farm, you got to have a way to sort those. So that is what today's video is about. It's about this crazy sorter down below that can sort all 45,000 of those items for you completely automatically while you are AFKing while using the looting 3 effect. So the first thing that happens when all the mobs are killed is all their XP and items flow down this tube, and then all the items are sorted out from the XP. All the XP will be taken along this line right up to the player where they are AFKing, and then all the items will be picked up by one of these many hopper-minecarts and will be dispensed into the water streams, where they will then get chest aligned, so they are lined up between 2 different blocks, and then start flowing all the way down this water stream. Now, once they are chest aligned, we are able to sort them out using this one wide titleable simple item filter. Now, this simple item filter, as you might guess, is not quite as simple as the ordinary one. This all runs with hopper minecarts instead of hoppers. Now, all the items here will run at 4 times hopper speed, which is like really fast. And then from there, they will go straight down to the Shulkerbox Loaders. And the Shulkerbox Loaders actually load the items up at 4 times hopper speed as well. So this entire system runs at 4 times hopper speed. And hoppers are like 2.5 items per second, and we got like 45,000 items to deal with. So, the faster we can go, the better. Now, the bad news is that going 4 times hopper speed is too slow. Like, that can't handle the sheer number of items that come through, which is why we have 10 different item filters for one item. Yes, that item is emeralds. Since we get 20,000 items an hour, having 10 slices divided between them and 4 times hopper speed, I found that that takes care of all the emeralds. Now, part of the reason that 10 of these simple item filters work is due to a bug. Now, this bug right now does make this system slightly less efficient as it normally would. Now, while Silent Whisperer's design does produce 20,000 emeralds an hour, this farm, or this sorter, will only actually save you about 18,000 of those 20,000 emeralds. I know, you lose about 1,000 to 2,000 emeralds, but that simply can't be helped due to this bug. Now, this bug has to do with hopper minecarts and hoppers. Basically, if an item you are not sorting, so for example, emerald blocks, we're not actually sorting for those, we're sorting for emeralds. If that emerald block is on that block first, and then an emerald goes on, that emerald would normally be picked up right away, but the hopper minecart is focusing only on that emerald block, and because of that, we lose some efficiency. That is also why there is a water stream here. The nice thing about water stream is the longer you are in the water stream, the faster the item goes, which makes all the items split up between them a lot faster and a lot easier. And by having more than just one of these different hopper minecart item filters, we are able to optimize and get better chances of collecting more and more emeralds. If this bug is fixed, that would mean that you would collect all 20,000 emeralds regardless, but until this bug is fixed, you're only going to collect around 18 to 19,000 of all your emeralds. So it's a little bit of downside, but honestly, you will not notice it because, it still produces a crazy amount of emeralds regardless. Now, the first 10 of these item filters are all for emeralds, but then to the left, we have 2 sorters for all the other stackable items. You can get a redstone, dust, gunpowder, glowstone, sugar, spider eyes, sticks, an insane number of arrows, as well as glass bottles, and all those are just the stackable items you can get from this farm. Now, the non-stackable items can be easily sorted out using allays. Now, allays take about like 3 seconds between items they pick up, so the allays will not pick up every single non-stackable item that comes across them, but every 3 seconds, a new non-stackable item that they can pick up that they are set for, they will pick up. So for example, this first guy here is for totems. So if I simply grab some totems real quick, if I throw my first totem in, he will pick it up. But if I throw another one before the first 3 seconds are over, that totem is lost and is going to get burned. Now, if you throw a secondary item after that first item is thrown, that's after 3 seconds, then of course the allay will pick it up again, and the cycle will continue all over again. Now, that 3 seconds is an allay cooldown that we cannot change, and so that is just a slight loss there. But on the other hand, you actually get a crazy number of totems and books and saddles and really any other thing that you are sorting here. So even though that the allays will not pick up every non-stackable item that comes across them, they will pick up more than what you could ever want. Now the other thing with non-stackable items is you might not quite realize all the different non-stackable items that you can get from this farm. Now of course you can get totems, enchanted book saddles, as well as the 2 witch potion drops, which is instant health and speed. Now these again, if you only want one or just a couple of these different sorters, you don't have to have all 5 allays, you can only have 1 or 2 if that's what you would prefer, but these are the 5 different non-stackable items you are able to farm in this farm. And the nice thing about these non-stackable items is, let's say that you only needed a single double chest of saddles, because honestly you don't even need more than a single chest. Then all you have to do is simply have a double chest here, and as long as there's no more storage, after you get a double chest of saddles, the system will stop collecting more saddles and it will start burning the rest. The same goes for all the potions, the enchanted books, and the totems. So it really is customizable to how many totems or books you want, and the system will only keep as many non-stackables as you want to, of course, keep. And then all the different crossbows and different armor pieces all just end up in the lava because the system is just so fast, it's not worth actually smelting those down to iron ingots, because you don't get ingots, you get nuggets. Like, it's not a good deal. It's not a good ROI, and it takes way too long, and the system just produces way too much. Now, if technical redstone projects like this interest you, or you just want to hang out, then come and join my Discord. I just opened up a Discord to hang out with you guys, talk to you guys, a bit easier than it is to talk in the YouTube comments. So link is in the description. Come and hang and chill on the Discord, where we are just gonna have fun, friendly conversations, and who knows, we might even have some more redstone challenges in the future. But that's enough of the sidetrack. Let's get back to the video. And as much information as that was, that really is this entire sorter in the most basic terms. There's a lot of customization in whether the items you want to actually collect and the quantity of items you want to collect, but I mean, that's really all there is to it. And well, this system just fits nicely in the ground there to reduce or make sure no mobs actually spawn on it. And then it is an easy addition to just add right up here at the spawn platform. Now, because this farm does have to have an on-off switch, that requires the player to turn it on and off. You do want to be in the chunks at all time while this system is running. Now, even after you turn the raid farm off and you are done with all your raids, it is still good to run the system for another like 10 to 15 minutes, and that is just because of the sheer number of items that are coming in. All those items are trying to be sorted or burned, or are just trying to be loaded into all those shulker boxes. So make sure that whenever you run this farm, that you make sure to keep the actual sorter part on for additional like 5 to 10, maybe even 15 minutes, just to be on the safe side, depending how long your AFK session was, to make sure that the system is fully reset and emptied and ready for the next time you want to run this crazy raid farm. Now, it is worth noting that this sorter does have to be oriented the correct direction, because we are using the fact that hopper-minecarts are slightly offset to the southeastern direction, their hitbox, their collection, so we are using that to their full potential. So make sure to get a sunflower out, and whatever direction the sunflower is facing, that is the east side, and the east side should be where your actual AFK platform is, because, you know, you have to do this for the actual tutorial itself as well. Now, if you're one of the insane people to actually build this in vanilla Minecraft, then make sure to give me a tweet when you're done, because that would be absolutely insane to see. Anyhow, materialist and world download are in the description below, but here is the layout for the entire build. Now, I'm going to go over everything real quickly, and you can just rewatch this if you need to double check on dimensions. But if there's any confusion or you want to be searching about anything, make sure to check the world download. That is going to be your saving grace when it comes to a sorter this massive. And here is the layout for the entire sorter. Now, if you want to make things easy on yourself, then just dig a 24 by 42 block hole in the ground that's 16 blocks deep, and that will make a big enough area for you to actually build the sorter. If you want more walking room, then of course you want to make slightly bigger than that. But if you want to get more complicated, this is the actual design where there's redstone. Now, like I said, the back wall is 42 blocks long. The north side is 17 blocks long. And then you're actually going from end to where you are AFKing, then that's going to be 70 blocks long from end to end. Now, this dugout I have here, it doesn't need to be a dugout. If you want, it could be on the surface. You don't have to dig anything at all, but it is nice to be certain that you don't have to mob-proof the actual redstone line. Now, when it comes to the southern side is just a straight line. It's 24 blocks long, and the eastern side is the only, like, real complicated side. The eastern side, the southeastern corner, is going to be 18 blocks long. Then it comes in 7 blocks here, and then it continues straight for another 22 blocks. Now, as for the actual height of this build, the entire actual sorter doesn't start until it is a total of 57 blocks from the actual raid farm. So you are well and away from where any mobs will spawn. All the mobs should spawn and always spawn in that raid farm, and that is why the raid farm sorter itself is in this hole, is to protect it from ever getting spawns in the sorter itself. Now, the actual drop tube where all the XP and items are coming from, that is where this entire sorter is centered around. Now, the back or western edge is a total of 8 blocks away from the center tube. So you can see the center tube is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the 8th block is the wall of the back edge of this sorter. So just keep this in mind where the central tube is inside this entire sorter. That emerald block is where the central tube is, and that is also a total of 13 blocks from the northern side. So it's 13 blocks from there, it's 8 blocks from that wall, and that is where that emerald block is. Once you have this entire area dug out, it is time to start building the raid sorter. So first you're going to want to come straight down from the center tube 2 blocks. And then here to the left, so right underneath the tube, we're going to have a magma block. This is if for some reason a pillager falls through, they will die instantly and there will be no clog here. Then we're going to come back 1 block, and then we're going to just create a little cove right around this block, just like this. This is where our water source is going to be starting, and then we're going to come right out here to the side, just like this. So this is coming right here to the right side or to the north side of our build. Next, we're going to take our ice blocks and come out 11 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then right here, you should be 1 block away from your edge. And then we're just going to continue this line all the way to where our XP tube is, all the way on that end. When you approach your XP tube, if your soul sand is further down or further up, just bring it right down to this level with your ice, bring it all the way to the end, and then you can replace this glass with a stone button, or really any type of button you want. Next, we're just going to take some leaves, and I'm just going to put this to edge the entire way. Now, these do not have to be leaves. These can be, for example, glass blocks, but leaves are a bit cheaper. It just has to be some block that, of course, raiders cannot spawn on because we are above the surface. So now it is time for our water streams. I'm going to come to the left side where we made a little pocket here. You need to put some sort of temporary block to place the water on. Otherwise, you're going to just waterlog the leaves, which is not what we're trying to do. So once you put a temporary block there, you can break it, replace that leaf block. Then we're going to come to the water stream, come back 1, then place the next water bucket, and we're just going to continue this process all the way to the end. And once you have all your water streams set up, you can take a final bit of leaves, and we're just going to put a roof over all of this water streams. Next, we're going to come around to the west side of our actual water stream. We're going to come down 2 blocks, and then right on the side of this block, we are going to have 11 droppers, right in a line like this. Now, if we come all the way back, you can go ahead and break these 2 temporary blocks, and then we're going to have 11 hoppers going into each of those droppers. And then you want to grab your solid blocks, and we're going to have 1 solid block on either end, and then we're going to have a rail going right in between those 2 solid blocks. Now, on top of this rail, we're going to try to fit 10 hopper minecarts over this 11 block strand. So the easiest way to do this is just put a hopper minecart every other block, just like this. And that's going to be a total of 6 hopper minecarts. Then you can put your 7th one in. And if you just wait a little bit aiming at the rail, it isn't that hard to put in an 8th one. And then for the final 2 hopper minecarts, the easiest way to do that is to honestly just come up here and temporarily block off this water stream. And then right here, I'm just going to have a rail line come straight in. And then I will drop just 2 hopper minecarts right in the rail line. And they should fix themselves from right there. And the hopper minecarts should basically stop moving at this point. Then you can just go ahead and replace this, all the ice blocks that you broke earlier. And right here, you should have 10 hopper minecarts, 11 hoppers going into 11 droppers. Next, coming off the dropper side, we're going to have 11 blocks, 1 block behind each of these droppers. And then we're going to come down 1 block and out 1 block right here. Now on all these blocks is where we're going to have comparators, and these comparators need to be facing out so that they are detecting those droppers. And this is going to be basically our automatic dispensing system anytime there's items in those droppers. So now we need to take all these comparators and put them in one single circuit. So how we're going to do that is we're going to create a V right here with the first 3 comparators. Then we'll make another V right here. You can put one more V right here. And then we're just going to make an upward dash, just like this. So it should be like a 1, 2, 2, 1, 1 on the upper blocks. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put redstone dust on all the lower ones, just like that. We'll have a solid block here, and that's going to go straight into a repeater. Our repeater is going to go straight into some redstone dust. Make sure your repeater is on 1 tick. That's going to go straight into a solid block. Now coming from the other end, we're going to have a solid block here with a repeater coming right out of it. That's going into another solid block with another repeater right here, also on 1 tick, and that's going to go straight into some redstone dust. Now this central block right here, anytime any items go into any of those droppers, this torch will turn off. Now from this torch, we're going to go up 1 block, have a torch coming off to the side. Then I'm just going to have a comparator here on subtract mode. Now that comparator is going to have a redstone signal, and that redstone signal is going to run straight down and on all these blocks we placed earlier. Then all you have left to do is you simply just come up and connect the circuit like this. And just like that, we have finished building this auto dropping system. This auto dropping system basically works anytime any items are in this dropper. It's going to detect that, turn off the torch, and then drop all those items from these droppers very quick into the soon-to-be item streams. Now we're actually going to create the ice paths that these droppers are dispensing in. So we're going to come down 2 blocks from the furthest right dropper. And here we're going to make an ice path that's 5 blocks long, just like that. Then right here we're going to have an inward-facing stair. We'll come around to the other side, also have an inward-facing stair. And then we're going to have another ice path here that is 4 blocks long. Then we'll bring each of these 3 blocks in. And then we're going to go ahead and surround the entire edge with glass blocks. These don't have to be glass blocks. These can be solid, but, you know, it's kind of nice seeing all the items float around. And do make sure to put blocks underneath those stairs. And we're going to come down, and we're going to have 2 other blocks right there. Then we're going to go ahead and make our ice path that is right down 1 block below. This is where all our items will be traveling across to actually be sorted. And this we are going to extend all the way back until it is level with the back. You're going to place 2 blocks right here, and you want to replace this block with any other type of block as well. We're going to come in 1 block, and then here we're going to start with double chest. You need to have 6 double chest, and when you are completely done placing all your double chest, it should end right at the magma block, and that should be 6. Then what we're going to do is we're going to place some more glass blocks right on top of these chests. These chests are all here for item alignment, so it is important that you actually have chests here. Then we're going to place 2 blocks right here in the center, and then we're going to have 4 buttons on this side, and then we're going to have 5 buttons right here on this side. Then we'll go ahead and place a water bucket right there, so that's going to create a water stream. Then right here we'll have another button and another water stream there. Now we're going to go ahead and waterlog our stair, and then just come out and make all of these water sources. So that should be 5 water sources here, and then over here you're going to waterlog the stair and fill the rest in, so that should be 6 water sources to the right. Now, regardless of wherever items come into your system, all the items should be dispensed, come along and be chest aligned, and all flow to the very end, which at the very end I would just make an end cap right here to keep the water from flowing out temporarily while we build the rest of the redstone system. Now that we have finished separating all the items from the XP orbs, and we have went ahead and chest aligned all our items, it is time to put in the water stream. We're not going to put in the water stream quite yet in case you make a mistake and the water flows everywhere, but we're going to go ahead and put in the ice path. So the ice path is going to be 40 blocks wide altogether. Right here is a 12 block wide ice path, and that goes all the way up to the magma cube, which means it's going to be 28 blocks after that magma cube. Then we're going to come in 11 blocks. So counting the end, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then we are going to come in 15 blocks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And stepping back, this is what your ice stream should look like. It should be a long straight section. That's going to be for the stackable item sorters. and then it's going to come back to the non-stackable item sorters here. Now, because of how massive this sorter is, it's going to be a lot easier to build from the ground up than to actually build like the item filter first. So that is exactly what we're going to do. We are going to start with our Shulkerbox Loaders. So our Shulkerbox Loaders are going to be under our emerald spots right here in the beginning. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to the left of our far left chest, underneath this ice block, and come down 13 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And this is going to be the bottom block where we are going to start building our actual Shulkerbox Loader. So you are going to want to start off by coming up 1 block, and then we're going to have a double chest right here. Then coming right off to the side, we are going to have a solid block, a dropper, and then a hopper going into that dropper. You can go ahead and break these temporary blocks now. Then we'll come around to this side, and we'll have a temporary block with a hopper going into that block. Then we're going to go ahead and have 2 droppers going up right to the right of this hopper, and then we're going to have a dispenser going straight up. Do make sure that this is a dispenser and not a dropper. This is going to be our input for our shulker boxes. So all the shulker boxes you have, whenever you're ready to throw them into the system, you simply throw them into this chest, and while the system is working, it will funnel them straight up to this dispenser to be used to store all your emeralds. Next, we are going to come around, and in the center dropper, we're going to have a solid block, redstone torch on the top, redstone torch on the bottom. Then we'll come back 2 blocks right here. We'll have a redstone torch there. Come down 1 block. This is the lowest block, and that's going to be a repeater on 2 ticks. Coming straight back off of that repeater, we're going to have a bit of redstone dust. We'll have 2 solid blocks right here, and we will have 2 repeaters on top of those, both on 3 ticks. Then we're going to have a redstone torch on the side of this dropper with a glass block and a bit of redstone dust and a solid block right here. Then we're going to place a dropper on top of this redstone dust and a hopper going into this dropper. Now, from this dropper, this is where our output's going to be. This is where all the full shulker boxes of emeralds are going to go, and we will make a full chest container for that later. But just so you know, that's what this is for. Now, back to the right, we are going to come up 2 blocks, and then right here, we are going to have a repeater on 1 tick, redstone torch on top of that, come up 1 more block, torch on the side of that, come up 1 more block, and another torch right there. Then we'll have a comparator on top of this hopper. That's going into a solid block. Then coming out 2 blocks, we need a glass block on the second. This needs to be another comparator. That's going into another solid block. Come down a block. Here we'll have redstone dust and a torch. And by placing that torch there, these repeaters should both be on, and these 2 torches should both be off. You can now put a piston facing inward right on top of that torch, just like that. Now we're going to come around back here to the side of this comparator, and we're going to have a solid block, redstone dust, and then you need to make sure to put a lever on top of a block right here. And this is going to make sure that this redstone dust is powered non-stop, so that always needs to be on. What this is doing is it's saying unless there's a redstone signal strength of 15, which is going to be a full shulker box, the system is going to do nothing. But as soon as the shulker box that is right here is completely full of items, then this piston is going to break the shulker box and place a new one. So now we need to grab our droppers again, and we are going to place 2 more droppers. We're going to have a dropper facing inward, and this is going to be facing inward towards the dispenser. And then we're going to have a dropper facing downward off the side of that torch. Then we'll come straight up, and we're going to have hoppers going into each of those droppers. We're going to have 2 going into the first one and 2 going into the second one. Then we'll place a dropper here to save some iron, and then 3 more hoppers just like this. This is going to be your 4 times hopper speed input that's going to feed into that shulker box in the Shulkerbox Loader. Now we're going to come right around to the right side, and we'll have another block here, 2 bits of redstone dust, and a torch. Then we'll come down 1 block to the right. We'll have a redstone dust and another torch. Then we're going to place 3 more blocks right here. We'll have a solid block right there to keep redstone dust from connecting, 2 bits of redstone dust, and a repeater. And just like that, that is 1 Shulkerbox Loader that works at 4 times hopper speed. Now, the easiest way to test this to make sure you did this right, because there's a lot of redstone pieces, so it's good to test things to make sure you built things right as you go along, is to take a chest boat, place that right here on top. Then I would just go ahead and put in 2 stacks of items. So that is going to drain in 4, so you should see 4 items removing at once, and then that's all going to feed into these 2 droppers. Then we're going to prime the system with 2 shulker boxes. And these shulker boxes I have are just missing 2 stacks of items. This is so we can see the system in action, but it doesn't take ages for it to actually fill up. Then we're going to put our second shulker box in the dispenser below it, and that's just going to so we can see it restock itself. And then we just have to build a quick temporary timer in order to turn the entire system on. For this timer, you're going to need a comparator, a lever or some sort of power source, and some redstone dust. So what we're going to do is we're going to extend this line back just like a couple blocks. Then right here we'll have a comparator, some redstone dust circling all the way around this, connecting to that repeater. Turn the comparator into subtract mode, and then right here we're going to have a lever to turn the entire system on and off. Now if we simply turn the entire system on, we should see in this shulker box the items filling in around 4 times Hopper's speed, and that is happening. And as soon as that happens, the shulker box should break and a new shulker box should dispense. And you can see right there that that exactly happened. And if we come around to the back side, you can see that this shulker box got dispensed out of this dropper, just like it should do. And right there is the first step complete. Now what we need to do is to repeat this entire system another 10 times. Now we are only going to repeat this another 5 times on the right side, and then we have to flip the design and put it on the left hand side. So go ahead and rebuild this right hand side another 5 times over here. And that includes everything over here except the actual temporary timer. And that includes, like, for example, this shulker box input chest. You are going to want to put in another one of these, like, for example, right here. So just go ahead and redo this part, and I will see you when you get all 5 of those slices done. Now, once you have all 5 of those slices done, so you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you want, you could do the same thing we did on the first one. Just go ahead and place a chest boat on each 4 of those hoppers for each of the other 4 that you are yet to test. You are going to have to manually load in the first shulker box, so you can just go ahead and put that in and just throw into each of those boat chests 2 stacks of items, and then all you really would have to do there, and then make sure to throw in a secondary shulker box so you can make sure that it redispenses that next shulker box in after it breaks the first one, and then just come straight to the back and just hook in this redstone line to each one of these different repeaters, and that way all the systems will turn on at the same time. And just a quick turn of the lever, we can see whether all 5 of my systems work. Once all those shulker boxes are completely full with their items, they should all break and a new one should be dispensed. And because all of them did that, and I got all 4 of my shulker boxes over here, I can tell that this entire system worked. Now, one thing you do have to be aware of is this final back one does not actually have another dropper or another slice back here to keep that shulker box contained and force it to go to the hopper. So I did only get actually 3 of my 4 shulker boxes because the 4th one came out on this side. Because of that, that does mean that you need to put 2 glass or some sort of other block here in order to force that shulker box to go in that hopper. Now for the flip side, again, it is the exact same thing except the entire loader is flipped. So what you would start with again is the double chest. The double chest is already here, so you're just going to take off the left side of that chest. So we will come up 1 block, we'll have a dropper here, hopper going into that dropper, then coming to the back side, we'll have another dropper going straight up, hopper going into that dropper, come up 1 more dropper and a dispenser. Then you're going to want to place a block with a redstone torch on top of that. Then you're going to need to come all the way down and get under these hoppers, so it probably is easier to break some more blocks underneath just so you can get under here. You'll place a redstone torch here, break these 3 temporary blocks, then come up and around. We need to place a solid block here with a block underneath it. Then right here we'll have a repeater on 2 ticks, redstone torch on the side of that block. That should turn that torch on. Then we'll come right off here to the side, solid block up there, 2 solid blocks with 2 repeaters, each of these on 3 ticks. We'll have redstone dust come up 2 blocks, and then we're going to have a redstone torch right there. Then coming right off here to the side, we'll have another redstone torch here. We'll have a piston facing inward, and then we're going to need to grab a glass block, and this glass block needs to be here with some redstone dust. Then we're going to go ahead and place a dropper on top of this redstone dust with a hopper going into that dropper. Then right on top of this hopper, we're going to place a redstone comparator. That's going to go straight into a solid block. We can have a glass block and then another comparator going into a solid block. Underneath that solid block, we can have a bit of redstone dust. Then we can just come straight around here. We can have a solid block, redstone dust, then you need to go ahead and grab your levers out. You can go ahead and place a solid block and a lever just like that. Then we're going to just come straight down, have a solid block there, redstone torch one more block up, redstone torch to the side, and one more block up and another redstone torch to keep that snaking line over. Then we can go ahead and place in our 2 droppers. So we can have a 1 dropper here and 1 dropper facing straight down, just like this. And then we can come straight up. We're going to have 4 hoppers here. So we're going to have 2 hoppers going into the first one and 2 hoppers going into the second one. Then we're going to have a dropper here and then 3 more hoppers going straight down, just like that. Then we're going to come straight down and to the left, and we're going to place just a temporary block there, and we're going to have a repeater on 1 tick. Then coming out another 3 blocks, we're going to have another repeater here, 2 bits of redstone dust, a block to keep the redstone dust from connecting, and then we're going to place another solid block there, 2 bits of redstone dust, a redstone torch, come back another 2 blocks, break the first one, redstone dust, and redstone torch. Then, of course, after this, you can test again with a chest boat to make sure that everything's built right, and then build this exact same system another 4 times, so that you have a total of 10 of these in total. Alright, so now that you have finished building your Shulkerbox Loaders, it is time to prep the system. So we need at least 20 Shulkerboxes for this step, and what you're going to do is come to each one of these in the dispenser, make sure to place 1, and then make sure to place 1 on top of the dispenser. And we're going to do that for every single one. If for some reason your system runs dry of Shulkerboxes, then make sure to come back and do this. That way your system is ready to go. Once you have placed in all your Shulkerboxes and prepped the entire machine, then make sure to take the rest of your Shulkerboxes and just place them in this double chest, and this will split it between the slices. And then, of course, if you want to give more to not just the front, then you got to come in one and give some to the next double chest, and that's going to split it up between these droppers, and these droppers are eventually going to feed up into those dispensers. Now, for this system, the first couple 3 to 5 slices are going to fill up or use more Shulkerboxes than the rest, but you still want to make sure that all the Shulkerboxes are completely stocked. The reason is this system has no safeguard that if your system runs out of Shulkerboxes, the emeralds are just going to be dropped on the ground and will make your world very, very laggy. That is why you should make sure to be prepared and know how long you plan on AFKing. You're going to use around 11 Shulkerboxes for every hour you spend AFKing here on average. So just make sure you have over 11 Shulkerboxes per hour you're going to be in here. And preferably you want to have most of them on the first couple slices. Now, once you have all your Shulkerboxes stocked and everything, you are basically good to go for this system. The only thing left to note is, of course, this glass barrier I reminded about earlier to make sure all the Shulkerboxes end up in this hopper. And then the other thing we need to worry about is when the Shulkerboxes are actually full, where are they going to go? So what I would recommend is just having 2 or 3 double chests right here. And these double chests is where all your Shulkerboxes will end up after, of course, they are completely full. And you're going to want to put that for both sides because, there's 2 droppers, both being for both half of this entire system. So once you have all those chests in, simply whenever you are done AFKing, it'll take a little bit, but once there's emeralds in the system, they will start pumping out Shulkerboxes like crazy. Now, you are probably building this raid farm for the emeralds or even just for the different non-stackable items, and you're probably not building it specifically for these different stackable items, but they are a great byproduct. You can sort as many or as little of these as you want, whether you want to sort just one or even all of them. You simply need to just figure that out and decide that now. So there's going to be a total of 8 of those if you're going to build all of them, and each of the slices are going to go something like this. There's going to be 4 double chests. Underneath, we're going to have 4 hoppers going straight down, and it's going to be on the far right side or the south side. Then we're going to have 2 double chests coming straight down from that. And then from these 2 double chests, we'll have 1 single double chest in the center with hoppers connecting in. Then what I would recommend is to just go ahead and label this. So I know this is going to be my redstone column. And then the final thing you have to do for each slice is have a row of hoppers going straight down into each one of those double chests. Now you just need to continue this for every single other slice or stackable item you want to sort in the system. Once you have all your hoppers in place for every single one of your stackable items that you want to actually sort, it is time to start building the physical sorter. Now the sorter is the exact same. It is a 2-wide tileable design, and we are just going to build it once, and then you can just repeat that for every single one of your different slices or individual sections you have. Now what we're going to start off with is placing in some trapdoors. We're going to have 2 trapdoors facing out like that, 2 trapdoors facing in like this, and then 2 trapdoors facing out and it should look something like this. And in the final block, we are going to have 2 stone walls just like that. Then just place a temporary block with a rail on top of it and place a hopper minecart down. This hopper minecart, we are going to just push over temporarily, and then we're going to pick up our rail and block. If you don't actually pick up the item, it is going to drop through the system and it's going to end up in one of these droppers, and you need to make sure to pick that item back up. If you leave that item in this dropper, then when the system starts up, it's going to be put in the shulker box, and the shulker box will never become completely full. And because of that, the shulkerbox sorter will never break, and you will end up ruining your entire sorter. So do be careful, and probably at the end of this, go into every single one of these droppers and make sure they are completely clear of any rails or any other blocks. Anyhow, once you get the minecart in there, you do need to move it around. I would go ahead and just move it into the back corner and then push it forward, because this front area is exactly where you want it. Now you're going to need to do that the same for the other slice over here. So just go ahead and place the rail down, move the hopper minecart over, break the rail and block, pick them up, and then you're just going to need to nudge the hopper minecart into place. And then the easiest way I found to do it is to push it to the very back and then to push it forward just like that. For the next layer, we're going to have a glass block here, and we're going to have a glass block right here. So it's going to, when you continue it, kind of make a bit of a wavy or V/W pattern. Now on each of these, you need to have an activator rail. Now both these activator rails are pointing the wrong direction, so just place a temporary block, place a rail down, and then pick that rail back up. And you're going to have to do that for both those rails. And then we're going to have a solid block on the left-hand side, and then a wall on the right-hand side. And you're going to do that for both of those different rails. So just like that. And then on each of those activator rails, we need 2 hopper minecarts. So the easiest way to do that is to place one down immediately, then place a temporary block underneath the ice stream and a block out here. Then just place a hopper minecart down, break that rail that it's sitting on, and then just nudge it forward. Then that block's going to stop it in the right position. It's going to fall straight down and should level out somewhere between the wall and the block. And if you break this block, you should be able to see the 2 hopper minecarts overlaid in each other. Now we're going to have to do the same thing for this rail over here. So I'll do it again. Block there, but those being temporary. Place the hopper minecart down, break that rail, and then just nudge it straight on forward. And it should fall straight on in there and move around just like that. Now once you have done that, we are going to come up 1 block, and we're going to have 2 glass blocks just like that, with 2 detector rails. Now these detector rails also need to be rearranged, so just place 2 temporary blocks and redirect them just like that. Next, we're going to come around to the back side, and we're going to place 2 chests right here. The reason these do need to be chests is because we are using them for our hopper minecart alignment. So just place it in and push it forward, and that's going to nudge it between 2 different blocks. And that's going to let both these hopper minecarts pick up the items at the exact same time. Then what we're going to do is actually hook up these with the actual item filter. So how we're going to do it is we are going to simply start for the first slice. Here we're going to have a solid block with a repeater. That's going to come straight into a block. Then here we're going to have 2 blocks coming out, just like this. Then on the far left one, so this is going to be the hopper minecart that's closer to you, you're going to have a repeater. And the one that's further away from you, you'll have a redstone dust. Come back another 2 blocks. Come up 1 block, and then right here we will have a redstone torch. Come over to the side, another redstone torch. 2 glass blocks on top of those redstone torch. And then you have solid or glass blocks there. Then we'll have 2 redstone comparators right there. And then 3 redstone dusts coming off of each of those comparators. Then you're going to need a solid block right here, so this comparator can detect this hopper minecart right there. And just like that, that is a single slice of this item filter done. Now you just need to repeat this slice over and over again until you fill up item filter for every single one of the different items you want to sort. Once you have built all the item filters, it should look something like this. Now what we need to do is to set every single one of these item filters up to the correct item. So these first 10 slices are all going to be for emeralds. Now what you're going to do is to go into every single one of them, have an emerald in the first slot, and then some sort of renamed item or an item that is never going to come through the system in all the other spots. So you can see I have blaze rods, which won't come through, and I also renamed them to subscribe, just on the off chance if a blaze rod ever accidentally got thrown into the system, so it wouldn't break it. But, you know, saying that, if you haven't already subscribed, you might as well subscribe. Helps the channel out a bunch. But that's a shameless plug aside. Just continue doing this for every single one of these slices, and it's going to be relatively easy for this side. But of course, you're only doing every other one here. So then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to come over to the back side and you're going to reach in between the ice block and the chest, and you should be able to just reach in there and place in each of your item filters. And then if you already did what I said earlier and labeled each of these chests down here, you should very easily see redstone blocks. So right here, this one should be my redstone. And that makes it a lot easier to actually correctly set each of these item filters. As you can see, the blocks are labeled here to the right of the actual chest. So both of this slice and this slice is both feeding to this single row of chest. And both these are for my redstone dust. So on the left chest right here, you can see in this left hopper minecart, you can see I'm filtering redstone dust. And if I come around, I can also make sure to filter redstone dust there. You need to do this for every single one of those slices, and once you have done that, your item filter is complete. Now with the stackable item sorter done, it is time to work on the non-stackable item sorter, or in other words, we are going to start working with our allays. So to get our allay sorter prepped and ready for the allay, we are first going to set up of course, the item transport. So after the items comes all the way through, it's going to run right on into a double chest right here, and that is going to line it up between two blocks. Then we're just going to have slab here, then we're going to have an upward slab in the ice path. We'll have another upward slab in the ice path just skipping a block, and we're just going to do this another 2 times. It's just like this. And then we need to give the item a chance to regain speed, so here we'll have a little bit of a water source. We can go ahead and put 2 walls right here. And then we're going to have just 2 more of these Allay item sorters right here at the very end. So now that we have that in place, we are then going to set up our hoppers. So we're going to have 1 more slab here on the lower half of the block. And it's going to be the inside where each of the little divots are. So right like that, you should have 3 here and 2 there. And then we're going to have a downward facing hopper underneath every single one of those slabs. And then underneath every single one of those hoppers, you're going to want to have a double chest. Now, depending on what item it is and how many of you want, you can have more than 1 double chest. In the material list, I only budgeted for 3 double chests for each one of these, but it doesn't matter exactly how many you want, whether you want to have 1, 3, or 20 double chests to hold however many of these non-stackable items. It is up to you and how many you want to actually keep. So once you have all your chests in place, we're then going to place a glass block on top of every single one of these chests on the closest end to us, and then we're going to have a comparator right on top of each of those. This comparator is basically going to act as our relay on and off switch to make sure our system doesn't overflow with items. So we're going to want each of those to go straight into a note block, so we'll have a note block on the other side of every single one of those comparators. And then I'm going to go ahead and start filling in the area around here. So I'm just going to close off this area with glass. And this is going to make a little bit of a containment area for our allays. Once you have done this, we are going to extend it up 1 more block right up here. And then on top of this, we are going to have a wall right there. This way, with the wall, you still have easy access to the allays, but the allays are still trapped in there. Alright, now it is time to actually get our allays into the actual sorter. Now, I will make a quick disclaimer that if you want to use allays, you do have to have your option mob griefing turned on. If this tab is turned off, then Minecraft says, well, allays are not allowed to grief the player by picking up an item. So because of that, that needs to be turned on in order for allays to work. So all you really have to do, the easiest way to do this, is just give it a temporary item, and then just dig a couple blocks down from a minecart and throw it in. And then it will try to get it and instead just fall right into a minecart. And so once they are in a minecart, it is very easy to get them to the actual sorter. All you have to do is make a little bridge right on into where you want to put the allay, and then just grab the allay in that minecart and just push it right on into your sorter. Once the allay is actually in the hole, you can go ahead and put a wall on top, and then you should be able to just go down and break that minecart. Then I would go ahead and take that item back for them and give them the item you want them to actually sort. So for example, I want this allay to find all the totems for me. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to him, and then he is all set. And then all you have to do is you have to do the exact same thing for the other 4 allays. Now I do want to quickly remind you, you don't have to get all 5 of these allays. These are the 5 different non-stackable items that is worth any time to sort. So that's why I have all 5 of these as the options. If you don't want one, or if you just really don't want any of these non-stackable items, then don't even bother with this portion of the sorter. But it is a fun little addition to add on to get these cool non-stackable items, which some of them with the totems and the enchanted books being pretty amazing. Now, because I haven't done a full video on allays, I do want to explain a little bit of their mechanics here. In order for them to actually drop their item, they do have to be near a note block. Now, if I'm to just hit this note block now, you can see all the allays are focusing on this one singular note block, and how we're able to get it to focus on one note block, or this one allay is controlled by this one singular note block, is by using wool to block the other allays from getting a signal. So if we just put one wool here in between each allay and their note block, this note block goes to that allay, this note block goes to that allay, and none of the allays will take any signal from any other note block except their own. And this is nice, especially for the overflow system, and just making sure that we have total, complete control over the allay, because, you know, we're definitely not psychopaths. We're definitely not caging them in their own little cages and forcing them to do the sorting for us. I love allays. Anyhow, so what we're going to do, come right on top, and on top of each of these stone walls, we need to have a sticky piston facing straight down. This is due to, basically, if the allay flies up too high, it will not pick up any items, it won't sort any items, and it will just stay there forever. I've seen this happen multiple times, so we are going to basically set up a safeguard to make sure that the allays don't break themselves, and will continue to sort for as long as we need them to. So, we're just going to continue putting all these sticky pistons on top of each of these walls. Once you have done that, we are simply going to make a V on the 2 allay system with redstone dust in the center. Then on the 3 wide system, we're going to make a W real quick. And then here we can have a repeater with redstone dust. Then we're going to go ahead and build an etho hopper clock. And we're going to build that right over here. So I'm going to just have the redstone block here, come back 2 blocks. Right here is where our first piston's going to be. Come back another 3 blocks. Right here is where our second piston's going to be. Then if we come down a block and down 2 blocks right here, we're going to have a comparator. And we'll have 2 hoppers right here, one facing into each other, just like this. And then in one of the hoppers, just make sure to have 4 stacks of any item you want. It's going to be a junk item. You're never going to see that item again. And then all we're going to do is just continue this on the other side as well. So we're going to have another comparator and redstone dust. And this is basically a simple etho hopper clock. Etho, of course, invented it. And basically, whenever all these items transfer back and forth, that is what's going to trigger these pistons to go off periodically. Now, we only want this etho hopper clock to turn on when the farm is actually on. So for now, just go ahead and grab a temporary lever just to turn it off for now. Now, in order for the etho hopper clock to actually activate the sticky pistons, we're going to need observers. So we're going to have one observer on this end, and that's going to go straight into some redstone dust right here. And then we'll have an observer on this end as well. And believe it or not, our raid farm sorter is almost done. All it's left to do is a little bit more redstone and water streams in order to hook the entire system together. So we're going to start with the water streams. So coming over here to our main water stream, we'll go ahead and put a wall of glass here on the left-hand side. This does not have to be glass. It could be any type of block, but I'm just going to go ahead and use glass because that way I can see all the items flowing around. Now, on the right-hand side, because it is a chest and the items are chest aligned, so that means they're slightly between the blue ice and this block, it can't be a full block, so we are going to use walls there instead. And then here, it doesn't matter, so we're just going to put solid blocks here. And then for the end, it's aligned on that wall, so we can put solid blocks on this side. When we make it all the way here to the end, the final area here is just going to be a little bit of a burn area for all the crossbows and armor, or really any other item that we are not wanting. And the reason why we're not actually trying to smelt the armor or crossbows down is because there's just so many different items that come through the system that you would have to have an enormous super smelter in order to actually do it. And you wouldn't get that much iron back. Like, the ROI is pretty terrible. And with as much iron as we used in this build already, I really hope you've already built an iron farm. And because of those reasons, I decided not to add that extension, because it would just be a whole lot more work, a lot laggier, and it just wouldn't be worth your investment of time and resources. Now, once you have triple checked your water streams good, you can go ahead and let the water flow in. We're going to cut back 1 block and then have a new water source, and we are going to continue this all the way down the line. And then when we get to the corner, we'll have a button and just let the water source take the corner. Now, we do want this water source taking the corner because that lets the items have full potential to actually take the corner and recover as quickly as possible. Now we want to do the same thing over here, so I just need to grab that button back. We'll have the button right here, and then a water source here. And that's going to let the item, again, fully take the corner and chest align properly. Then once it makes it through the first 3, we need to have another water source just to give it a little extra boost to finish it. And then, of course, if it's not being sorted anywhere there, it's just going to burn in lava. Now, all that's really left for the water stream is to grab some more glass or some leaf blocks, it doesn't matter which, and just put a roof on this. That way to keep any other items or, for example, players out of your water stream. And once you have a lid on all that, you are also welcome to put a lid on top of this water stream up here. Now, this water stream up here is, of course, where all the items are originally going to be coming in, so I would highly recommend having an actual lid here. And the lid could be leaves or glass, it shouldn't matter. We are actually far enough away from the physical raid farm that it shouldn't actually matter whether you leaf up your entire area here. But if you want to be extra safe, you are welcome to do so. Redstone components are non-spawnable, which means mobs cannot spawn on redstone components. But again, if you want to be safe, it is called bug rock for a reason. You can go ahead and put leaves on top of all your redstone components. I have tested this system for over 10 hours now, and I have not had any issues with it. But that isn't to say issues won't happen in the future. So now we are going to step away from the actual physical raid farm sorter and go up to the AFK platform. So all the way up here at the AFK platform is where we are going to actually be building the on-off switch. So this system does have an on-off switch. You need to turn it on before or as soon as you turn on the raid farm, and as well let it run 5 to 10 minutes after your raid farm is completely done with the raids. This will make sure that all the items are sorted, and of course there's no issues. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a lamp here, that way you can easily see when it's on and off. I'm going to go ahead and put some leaves on top of those blocks because we don't want mobs spawning there. Then I'm simply going to come down a block. Right here, I'm going to have a bit of redstone dust, and then I'm going to have a sticky piston, and we're going to have 11 slime blocks, so 1 and a redstone block. Then we're going to come down 1 block and over to the side, and here we'll have redstone dust. And then we'll have another sticky piston with 11 slime blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Redstone block. And then we're going to come back over 2 blocks. Redstone dust on top of this and do it one more time. So sticky piston and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then a 12th redstone block. Now from this redstone block, we're going to run a redstone line all the way through this ditch to the actual sorter. Now this is going to be all run through this ditch I dug out earlier. This does not need to be in a ditch, but the nice thing about putting it underground like this is we know for sure none of the raiders will actually spawn in this area. So anyhow, we're going to come down 3 blocks and just create a little bit of a staircase. And then we'll just put some redstone dust around top of that. And then whenever this redstone block gets pushed down a block, we will know that the redstone is, of course, powered. Now, I would go ahead and temporarily power the redstone dust just so we can see its signal strength, because now we're going to run a redstone line all the way down till we get to the actual sorter. Now, you're going to want a redstone line on all of those blocks, and then since we have it actually powered, we can see where the redstone signal strength ends. Because redstone only has a signal strength to 15, at the 15th block, or the 16th, we're going to put a solid block, then we're going to have a repeater, and then another block. Then all we have to do is simply repeat the circuit again. When we get to where it runs out again, block, repeater, and another block. And then we're just going to continue this until it runs out a 3rd time. Now once you run your redstone line, it should run dead, and that dead spot should be right about in line with your actual edge of your Shulkerbox Loaders. So here we are going to need to run a redstone line from the Shulkerbox Loaders themselves up to this system. So what we're going to do is we're going to come 2 blocks back where the redstone dust is powered. We will have a repeater going into a solid block, and then we will have a comparator on subtract mode, 2 blocks on either end like that, redstone dust on both. Then we're just going to create a redstone staircase, bringing the redstone line all the way down to this actual column right here. And this little staircase doesn't matter exactly how perfect it is, as long as it gets the redstone line from one point to the next. Now once you connect it, you should see the comparator start to do the subtract mode, and all the repeaters should start flashing very quickly. Now the redstone signal strength from up there can't reach all the way back here, so we are going to need a repeater right here on the second one to further extend it. Now this clock we do also need to extend to the other half of the Shulkerbox Loaders. So I'm just going to bring a redstone line from right here. We're going to bring it all the way back and around, and I'm just going to hook it up to the back of all these different repeaters. And again, the same process goes for here. Just have a redstone line going, and then as soon as we see that it runs out of redstone signal strength, you can put a block, repeater, and another block, and that'll save you a little bit of redstone, and it will extend your signal strength. Then, of course, whenever it dies again, all you have to do is simply put another repeater, and that should extend the signal. And now all your different Shulkerbox loaders should have been activated, and they should all now be trying to, of course, put the items in the Shulkerboxes if the system was running. Now, there's one more system we need to hook up to this clock, and that is going to be the Allay Sorter. Now, the allays will only sort if they are constantly reminded that this note block is telling them they can drop their items. So what we need to do is we need to constantly turn this line on and off. So how we're going to do that is we're going to come one block away from the left-hand side. Here I'm going to have a repeater, and then I'm going to come down from here, making a redstone staircase. Now this redstone staircase, I'm again going to hook up straight with that line. So now that I'm lined up, I'll just continue that staircase coming all the way down. And then once you have the line, just run a bit of redstone. And the redstone signal strength won't actually make it all the way up this staircase. So I'm just going to have to put a repeater right here at the bottom. And just like that, it should reach all the way to the top. Now, there's one more thing we have to do up here, and that's going to be to actually hook up this clock up here with the timer itself as well. So we are going to have a solid block here to the left. So this redstone dust should be going in it, and it should be powered. We will have a repeater on this side. And now both those note blocks chains should be going. We don't actually hear the note blocks because I have them turned off because it was a little bit loud for me. You might want to do that while around this farm. Then we're going to come around to the back side. We'll have a redstone torch that's going to go up one block. And if you're having trouble placing a block on top of this torch, don't feel bad about just breaking this redstone dust temporarily till you finish putting in your 3 torches like that. Replace that bit of redstone dust, then come around to the back side and remove this lever. Now you should see all the pistons fire and all the allays should be in their correct positions. And now we've basically got the entire system hooked up and ready to go. Now if we simply come all the way back our line, we can go ahead and remove our temporary power source. And all that's really left to do is to actually test to see whether our on-off switch turns on our farm. After that, make sure to finish doing all your different spawn proofing and things like that. Now, I specifically designed the sorter with it actually in this underground area so you don't have to spawn proof it. But that doesn't mean it isn't worth spawn proofing. If you want to be extra safe or cautious, what I would recommend is just putting some leaves on this very beginning part. And if you want, you can put on a little bit of redstone there, as well as on these pistons right here. They are sticking up above the actual ground area. So just by doing this, this can be extra cautious, extra protection to make sure that the raiders don't spawn here, because we want to make sure all our raiders are always spawning up there in the actual farm. But that is really all there is to it. If you have any other questions or comments, let me know down in the comment section below, or join the Discord where we will be happy to help you if you have any questions or issues with this sorter. But this has been Rockville, and I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.